We're here today with Greg Valles, who is the Managing Director of Valles Accountants. We're so lucky to have you here today, Greg, because your journey's been so interesting. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
To start off with, I'd love to have you share a little bit of your background and tell us a bit about what you do and the firm that you've set up, because it's really taken Australia by storm with the niche that you're in and some of the really interesting projects that you've done.
Thank you. I'm really honoured to be here and to share, and I love what you guys are about. This is really needed in Australia and the world, I would think, this great mentoring of and dissemination of information. Look, I'm an accountant with personality, so I've founded the accountancy practice on the traditional basis, as lawyers, doctors, dentists. We have a chartered airline client. We have a client that owns a port. We started to make sure that we're at the cutting edge of everything and moving. We're also an accountant that's very entrepreneurial. We make sure that we get the accounting needs that are done, but get out of the way of the entrepreneur when they have to do the entrepreneurship. Then I move into business strategy, and being an owner, I understand that. I understand all the machinations. And my major philosophy for most of the people when they're starting off and during business is to de-risk. Make sure that I protect them, that they don't fall off a cliff for any reason. I've seen it all. I've seen a lot of things, and I'm able to, with a wise ear, give them some guidance. And that's basically a lot of that happens. The other thing is the cutting edge of blockchain industry. I mean, in 2016, we had four fighter jet pilots come into my office. They were on the back page of the Fin Review. They'd raised 20 million US. They were smart enough to know what they didn't know. And they had asked us to help us with their corporate governance, and we did that. And I started to learn a lot about that blockchain industry and what's happening. It's called Web3. And what's happening now, it's taken the world. We were in Texas last year for a conference in New York. It was quite large, and it's happening all over the world. It's not just crypto, it's more than that. I'm happy to go into a bit more detail around it, but I think it behoves people to look at the current Web 2 industry and how that applies to the Web 3. And every person in business should look at that, because at some point in time, it's going to be very relevant. So that's the blockchain. The third element of our business is we do a lot of merger and acquisitions at the moment. So we're looking at 100 million for one on an MBO. The other one's building a milk production plant for 170 million. So I'll put that consortium together and make sure all of the relevant people are in place. So basically, at Valles, we offer all the large business strategic as well, and we help all startups. We love helping the startups and to get them to where they want to and learn from other businesses in place.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is this excitement and energy around being at the cutting edge of innovation and really being part of that journey with other companies.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, how has the idea of being, really embracing innovation really played a role in your journey?
Well, I think it's the intellect of and it's not just the young, because it's at every age. We've had people in their 60s also in the blockchain. I mean, there's a 21-year-old that's written a white paper and raised $20 million US on the white paper. He now has a business in Germany worth 250 mil, right? And he's now 26, 27. He came in to see me. No one wanted to listen to him. No other accountant believed in the industry that he was in. But I got him, and I understood the intellect of him, and I respected him, and he respected me, and he listened. And so that's the journey. I mean, they're just bright people. And the other thing is about education, reading, listening, and it de-risks a lot of your problems you have. There are founders that have started businesses and done quite well, and there's some litany of some real problems where they've had money and moved at large amounts without getting proper advice, and they've lost it, and that wouldn't happen under my watch. It just doesn't happen. And that's the corporate governance that we instill. So, you know, it's important to get that solid advice.
Absolutely. I think it's so important, but also so rare to find a business partner in your accountant to be able to come on that journey with you as an entrepreneur. Was there an experience that you had, you know, early on in your journey that really encouraged you to have this approach to the way that you work with the clients that you have? Because I think it's quite rare.
Yeah, no, great question. I think it's just the enthusiasm of loving what you do, just the passion and the interaction of people. Also seeing their development and their journey. And just, you know, whether you're brilliant, people don't have to necessarily be intellectually brilliant. They're just smart and wise in different areas in different ways, but they're smart enough to know, the smart ones know that they need assistance. And when they do that, that's the passion in you that you're making a difference, and that they're doing well. So the idea of our business is very much about a well-wisher business. When I hear that you guys have done so well, it warms my heart to see that happen. And I think that that's what you need, a cheerleader around, and also that tells you what's what as well, you know, when it needs to be said.
Obviously, in your role and with everything that your company does, money is kind of at the center of, you know, most of what you do. And so I'd love to have your perspective on what role you think money plays in creating success.
Well, I think it's such an important question, because money, of course, is important. But when I listen to people in the real successful one, it's their passion and understanding of what their business is, and then we look at how that's going to monetize, right? So if people are just coming in and just wanting to make money and that's their driven soul, I just think it's about the completeness. The real successful ones, and then when they make money, the big part is to keep that money, right? And so it's all the education process of that, and understanding about, it's about just being happy, really. About being happy about what you're doing, understanding the industry that you're in, educating yourself, and then knowing that money will come as a result, because you've done all the right things, you've done all the research, you've got real great people around you that are supporting you, and you haven't got all yes men or yes women that are just telling you what you want to hear, but are solid and that they're not inhibitive. So money is definitely an important aspect. But at the end of the day, understand that you have to be very passionate and knowledgeable about what you're doing, and the rest comes.
And as someone who has started a very successful business, you know, yourself, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way that, you know, if you could go back in time and you could give yourself a heads up or some advice, you would be able to share?
No, I think that's right. And we've all learned, and that's what's made us better about making the mistakes that we have. And some of them is just about the value of who you hire. And it doesn't have to be necessarily that smartest person. It's about the person that understands your values and understands the business values and understands your client's values, and just has that nature which everyone resonates in, and you draw what you're associated with. So the hiring policy of people is very important, and that they really embrace your values and your culture, and they're the front for your clients, and the clients will be happy that they are a reflection of you. And that I've learned over the years, and that's taken time. And now, you know, we've got a wonderful staff, and I'm not saying that the others weren't, but just weren't necessarily for us at that time. So yeah, no, I think staffing was a very, very big thing, if I can share that with people.
And I guess finding people who have those similar values sounds like was a really key part in being able to find, you know, the people who could stay with you and have that longevity with your company and grow too. And so for you, if you think about what those defining characteristics really were for you as a leader and also for you as a business. What do you think, if you had to narrow it down to say 3 values, what do you think that they were that really drove your success and drove the success of your company?
And on that too, when I started to realise that I've got to look at the values and the cultures, I also brought in my fiancée who's not part of the business at the time, but to sit in and second guess me on people and their values and what their principles are. And I think it was about what motivates them. What do they enjoy? Do they enjoy their job? What are the key drivers for them? And I think I asked them a bit about what they spend their time doing as well, and what's important. And I think it was just about the whole holistic aspect of how they would fit in with Valles and Valles would fit in with them, and that they would grow with us too, and that they had some sense of purpose. So they were key elements, the qualities that they exude, and one was just kindness. Are they kind? Are they respectful, and do they have that smarts to work things out, and do they want to keep learning and cutting edge? And that's what it was. I had people that were just wonderfully wanting to learn and keep learning, and that inspires me as well.
I can see, the whole idea of, operating in a world that's so dynamic, where so much is changing so quickly. You're talking earlier about blockchain and, specializing in cryptocurrency and being at the leading edge of that within the accounting realm. I can see why having problem solvers on your team is so important. When you think about some of, the rock star performers in your team, what have been some of the things that have really differentiated them from the others?
I think the fact that when they started to where they are now on that knowledge base, and being that the clients really respect that they know what they're talking about, and some of that blockchain stuff and crypto in terms of bridging, wrapping, DeFi, NFTs, there's a lot of technicality in it. There's understanding the nuance of that technology, let alone the tax triggers that occur. It is quite complex, and understanding that how my business service manager Ronnie, who's embraced it and just taken it to the next level, is now doing talks as well, as which I really love seeing. And just the rest of the staff too. They're just really growing. My EA Talia is just it's a bit of a radar. She knows exactly what I'm going to say. Knows what I need done. And she loves doing it, and just loves being at work. So that's what rubs off on you as well, in terms of their own personal growth. And we have a chat about how their weekend was too, and I'm interested in that because it is that they're happy and that they're doing things that they want to do. And we try to do things as a collective when we can. So there's a lot of that happening to keep a very happy team. And to be honest, I enjoy their company, which is, not many people say that.
Yeah, and I guess that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. You spend so much time in your office, and it's amazing to be working on something that you're very passionate about.
Yep.
But even more so, be surrounded by people that you love being around.
Love being around.
That energy sounds so important. The problem solving, the embracing challenges sounds like a very big part of your culture, which is incredible.
Yeah.
The last question that I'd love to ask is, I guess a more personal one. I'd love to hear what success means to you.
Well, it's a great question because I heard Gary Vee the other day, and Gary Vee was saying we've got to change the whole dialogue about what success means. And it was very true because, people say, I want to make $1 billion, I want to make 100 million or whatever. But he articulated the success about waking up happy. And it's so true. Wake up happy and do what you love to do, and then work out what monetizes in that thing. It'll come. And I think that's so important. People stress so much, or find a way that they can take away that stress, or we train a bit, we exercise, we meditate, we just try to do things that eases the pressure, but allows us to think clearly. You know, regulation reading. At the moment, I'm doing something called 75 hard, which is 45 minutes exercising outside and 45 minutes indoors, 10 pages of light reading,
Wow.
3 litres of water, and it's just tight, no cheat meals and no alcohol for 75 days. But it's just something that keeps your challenge outside of your work life as well, that keeps you quite disciplined.
Yep.
It becomes, it's actually made me feel a lot great waking up in the morning. Yeah.
I guess it's that mental challenge of knowing that, you know, you've always got a new goal that you're working towards, able to, you know, achieve, building new skills, learning new tools and tactics that help you to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah. And in the beginning of the year, Ash and I, we were on the Gold Coast on New Year's, and we've got our own book, and we write our own personal goals, you know, business goals, personal goals, what drives us, where would we like to be. And I think you've got to have those goals, and be realistic, but have a crack, have a think of the dream that you'd like to be and how you're going to get there, and then start building those blocks. It's very important. A lot of things that we see is that people don't have that sense of purpose or don't have a vision, and they just drift. And then they wake up one day and said, well, where am I? I haven't done it. So I think that goal planning and setting is what's probably made you very successful in what you do. That's important.
Yeah, they say, you know, the days are long, but the years are short. And so you've got to make sure you're spending the long days on the right things that make you feel good.
That's right. 100%. Yeah. I agree.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Greg. It's been fantastic having you.
Absolute delight. Thank you.
Thank you.